What's up guys, it's Will back again, and today's review is the highly anticipated yet highly controversial Suicide Squad. Did you guys see that there was a petition going around online to shut down Rotten Tomatoes because some people feel like critics are giving DC movies unjustly bad reviews? It's since been taken down supposedly, but this is all pretty crazy. But anyway, let's get into my review of Suicide Squad so I can let you know whether the critics or the general public are right about this movie. Okay, so Suicide Squad is an action-adventure superhero movie that was written and directed by David Ayer and stars a number of great actors and actresses such as Will Smith in the role of Deadshot, Margot Robbie in the role of Harley Quinn, and Jared Leto in the role of the Joker. This plot gets rolling when a government official named Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis, decides to assemble a task force of the world's most dangerous criminals that she thinks are capable of doing some actual good. Her logic is that the government needs to have some individuals with special abilities in their pocket in case the next Superman isn't so friendly. They say, what if Superman ripped the roof off the White House? Who would have stopped him? Well, not the Suicide Squad, I'll tell you that. I never really understood that argument because Superman would make so quick work of the Suicide Squad, it's not even funny. Well, the Suicide Squad officially assembles once the evil Enchantress starts trying to build a machine or portal that's going to tear the Earth apart so she can rule it. The government offers the Suicide Squad some valuables for their assistance in this matter, and the rest of the movie is spent with the Suicide Squad, led by Rick Flag, trying to bring down Enchantress. Okay, so is this movie a complete and utter train wreck? No. Is it a good movie? Nah, not really. This is an okay movie at best because it does have some nice things going for it, but it has a significant amount of major issues as well. The first issue I had with this movie is that the pacing is all over the place. There's random scenes of action that last for like 60 seconds, then there's like 45 minutes of talking that goes nowhere, then there's another action scene that's super brief and makes no sense, then another like 40 minutes of disagreement among the members of the team. This movie has like zero tension pretty much throughout because everything that happens you can see is telegraphed from a mile away, and when the movie builds up these major events and showdowns, they're so brief and fleeting you're more than likely going to feel like the payoff wasn't worth it. I get most superhero and action movies aren't non-stop action usually because action should not be done in excess that sacrifices character development. But the problem is these Suicide Squad members kick ass, but you rarely ever get to see them kick ass. And you would think that with so much walking around from here to there and talking about their situation, there would be some quality character development going on here. Nope, the only two characters that are significantly developed in this movie at all really are Deadshot, played by Will Smith, and Harley Quinn, played by Margot Robbie. The rest of the characters are so underdeveloped, it's insane how little you really know and will likely care about them. There's a scene in the beginning of the film that feels like it goes on for like 20 minutes where they go through each member of the proposed Suicide Squad's backstory. But still, you're most likely going to feel like you don't know very much at all about these characters because you're given very little info or time to understand them. And when you are given this info, it's not gradual, they throw it all on your plate at once. I'll also say that the dialogue was pretty inconsistent because there's some moments where it's really snappy, funny, and cleverly written, and others where it feels super cheesy and falls flat. It sort of felt like this movie is trying to be too many things at once, and that sort of bleeds through in the dialogue. Characters will say things that just feel very forced and out of place, and it will leave you scratching your head and wondering why that specific line of dialogue was even in this movie at all. There's also moments where the characters will say something really funny or cleverly written and you're just like, wow, okay, give me more of that and get rid of all the other shit. I'd say it's pretty much a mixture of half and half. You get half cleverly written funny dialogue and half poorly written, forced, and out of place dialogue. Okay, so as for the acting, the big thing most people probably want to know is whether Jared Leto is good as the Joker. Look, I'm sorry, but I have to say it, I did not think Jared Leto was an interesting Joker whatsoever. I get this Joker is more of a thug and very, very different from Heath Ledger's Joker we got from the Dark Knight film back in 2008. But Jared Leto's Joker was just not compelling to me in the slightest because he sort of felt overdone and just bland. You can definitely feel the craziness oozing out of his character, but you don't really ever feel like the intelligence is there like it was with Heath Ledger's Joker. This Joker feels more like a crazy reactionary villain rather than an insane visionary like the previous Joker was. It also didn't really feel like Joker really needed to be in this movie. It felt more like fan service than like he actually fit within the context confines of this story. Okay, so there's too many characters in this movie to go into each one individually because we'd be here all day if I did, but I'll just say that each character was pretty good in their specific role with a few exceptions in both directions. The two actors who I thought were exceptional in their roles were Will Smith as Deadshot, the conflicted yet ruthless assassin, and Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, the crazy and eccentric yet capable hero of sorts. Will Smith especially was absolutely great in this movie, and to me he's definitely the best acted character in a movie chock full of characters. He has depth to him, he's capable and badass, he's funny, and most importantly he's compelling every single time he's on screen. He has a lot of lines that are delivered beautifully and show that he still has those comedy chops that he's showed off many times before. Margot Robbie was also great in this film as well. I feel like she slipped into this role beautifully, and she brought a lot of energy and life to this character that I think most people are really going to enjoy. She's beloved by her fellow Suicide Squad members, and I think she's going to be beloved by many fans as well. I really am excited to see more of Harley Quinn because she had depth and layers to her that a lot of the other characters just didn't. I should also mention she's very funny, no disappointments at all in the comedy department with her. Okay, so two characters I really did not enjoy in this movie were Rick Flag, played by Joel Kinnaman, and Enchantress, played by Cara Delevingne. Rick Flag is just a pretty uninteresting character that's not particularly well acted in my personal opinion. If you remember, Joel Kinnaman played Will Conaway in House of Cards, and personally I didn't feel like he was a good fit there either. The role of Rick Flag was originally Tom Hardy's, who I feel like would have been perfect for this role, but he had to drop out for scheduling issues sadly. But yeah, Rick Flag is a pretty bland character that didn't really do much for me personally. So Enchantress is the main villain of this movie, and she is incredibly underwhelming. As I've said in other videos, if you have an underwhelming villain in an action or superhero film, that usually does not bode well for the film's overall quality. Because the stakes have to feel high, and with Enchantress, I just never took her seriously enough as a character to feel like they ever did. She's not particularly well acted, and while she does do some cool things visually, she's a very uninteresting villain. One issue you'll probably notice too is that she speaks and it felt like her enhanced audio was overdubbed and it didn't sync at all. She says things like, "And now I will destroy what you have built in this world and rule it for myself," in that ridiculous voice, and it feels over the top and just silly. So yeah, disappointing villain in this one. I will say though that the music in this film was awesome and always supplemented the action on screen very nicely. The soundtrack was great all the way around, and you're probably going to be excited when you hear some of these songs that were chosen for this movie. On the topic of action though, like I said, the action sequences don't occur all that frequently, but when they do, they're usually pretty fun and exciting. Visually, there's definitely some bad CGI thrown in there, but that doesn't occur all that much, mostly just during the climax of the film, sadly. This film needed more action, but when you do get it, it usually delivers. One last thing I want to let you guys know is that this film once again sets up the Justice League. While this is nice to have these sort of little details or Easter eggs thrown in, DC seems like it's trying way too hard to catch up with Marvel in the building of their universe, and it's coming at the cost of quality storytelling. There's reports out there that there was a lot of turmoil behind the scenes of the Suicide Squad film, and that it was rushed into production and so on. The problem with this is that these movies will always make the studios money even if they're bad, so they'll keep doing this and probably thinking that everything is fine. We all want a DC universe, but personally I don't want underdeveloped and boring characters that we all know and love. We want action, but the storytelling has to be there too. I'd rather wait and get a better product than what we're getting rushed to us from DC currently. Okay, so overall I was pretty disappointed with this film, although it did have some bright spots. I thought the action sequences were pretty fun and exciting for the most part, the characters were mostly well acted and interesting, and the soundtrack was very strong. Sadly, I also felt like the pacing was a mess, the dialogue could get very cheesy at times, the characters were pretty underdeveloped as a whole, including an underwhelming villain, and you don't see enough of the Suicide Squad in action. I'm gonna give this film a 6.5 out of 10 and say proceed with caution. If you like these comic book movies, I think it's still worth a watch, but if not, I'd recommend passing on this one. So did you guys see Suicide Squad yet? What did you think of it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if not, let me know whether you're excited to see this film or not. And as always, if you like this video, click that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for much more content like this. That's all for now. This is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next review.